Joining us for legal analysis, Kendall Coffey, former U.S. attorney, and Randy Zellin, a defense attorney and former prosecutor. Kendall, first to you on this. Paul Callan had this to say earlier on CNN about the president speaking out on Manafort. Let's play this.
The one thing I would worry about as a prosecutor, if there's somebody on that jury who's a diehard Trump fan, you have the President of the United States yesterday making comments about this deliberating jury. Even if Jeff Sessions said it rather than Donald Trump, if a lawyer said it, it'd be held in contempt of court.
Is contempt really an issue here, or is that a deflection, Kendall?
Not at all. And look, we're all talking heads talking about the trial, breaking it down, giving predictions and things like that. The system has to assume that the jurors are going to honor their oaths. But nevertheless, if you're Paul Manafort, this is kind of an intriguing development because, let's face it, there's got to be, statistically speaking, 3 or 4 jurors in that group that probably supported Trump. Got to think that somebody is getting word about it. Maybe, maybe not. But when jurors go home for the weekend, do they talk to family? Do they talk to friends? Maybe they're not supposed to, but maybe a lot of times they do. And we all know this, that a lot of people who support President Trump don't back down easily with their views of what the president says and what the president believes. So now you've got an indication that there's a clear endorsement of Paul Manafort, and by the way, a very harsh condemnation of this trial. So whatever Paul Manafort's been going through, this has got to be, the last couple of days, 2 of the best days he's had in a long time.
All right, Randy, I mean, here we are, and, you know, the trial, the megaphone, obviously, of the president. We've talked about a lot of big cases before. You've handled a lot of big cases. When you look at this, how much does that play into it with the jury? And what about the judge's instructions and the jury being charged to judge the merits, not what they hear from the outside?
Well, working backwards, you would love to think that jurors will honor the oath of sympathy has no place in the courtroom. Your personal feelings have no place in the courtroom. Don't listen, don't read anything, don't watch anything. But there's a concept that we've all learned the right way and also the hard way, which is jury nullification, which is where a juror will say, I don't care what the law is. I don't care what the judge tells me. I'm going to vote with my conscience. I'm going to vote with my heart and be damned what the law is. But what is so bizarre here, I mean, this is how everything is politicized, chocolate versus peanut butter. But remember, the executive branch, who sits at the top of the executive branch? The president. Where does the Department of Justice fall? Under the executive branch. You've got the most important person in the executive branch basically saying that the Department of Justice, under his watch, doesn't know what it is that they're doing. None of this makes any sense. And Mr. Coffey, I must respectfully disagree with, because if you, as a lawyer, are discussing a case that you're involved in where that could prejudice the trier of the fact, a juror, that is a potential disciplinary violation. We've got the most important person in the country, perhaps in the world, speaking out while a jury is deliberating.
Well, you know, Kendall, as they say in the debate business, when your name's been mentioned, you get to defend your position. So what do you say to Randy?
Well, of course the president has a right to speak out about issues of public interest. He didn't plant this. A reporter asked him about the pardon issue, and he responded spontaneously. And if the suggestion is being that the president is somehow subjected to discipline, I've got to very strongly disagree with that. But I think what was going to be fascinating for the trial going forward is this is a very, very tough case for Paul Manafort to win. It would be one of the biggest upsets if he got acquitted on everything since, well, Donald Trump won the election against Hillary Clinton. But what would be a big victory for Manafort and for those who oppose the Mueller investigation would be a hung jury. And so the questions we got yesterday, maybe the impact of President Trump's statements. There could be some things adding up to suggest that there are at least a couple jurors that have some skepticism about the prosecution's case and perhaps a reasonable doubt. Now, it's much too early for Paul Manafort to be getting optimism. We can recall cases such as Arthur Anderson, the accounting giant, such as Scooter Libby, the former chief of staff of Vice President Cheney, where the jury deliberated for 10 days and came back with a guilty verdict. Nevertheless, it isn't a pro-prosecution stampede, and given everything that Paul Manafort is facing in this trial, that might be a small glimmer of hope.
All right, so let's bring Senator Chris Murphy, the Connecticut senator, into this. This is what he had to say, and he tweeted this. So I generally choose not to hang on every twist of the Mueller investigation, but if Trump pardons Manafort, after maybe having promised a pardon to get him not to cooperate and gets away with it, then we're in a banana republic we just are. Now, he may not be the president, Randy, but he is a sitting senator.
Once again, what is happening with our system of justice, where once upon a time, transparency, you can go into the courtroom and watch what's going on, but we have everybody weighing in from a political standpoint. Suddenly we're a banana republic. The point remains that we have a system of justice that at its essence is based upon the public's, us as citizens, being confident that the right result is going to happen. And with the whatever the word is, politics.
The politics.
Everything is about politics. My God, what is happening in this country? As far as Mr. Manafort is concerned, he is presumed innocent until such time as the jurors go in and begin their deliberations. Their verdict should be based upon the evidence and nothing else. How the president feels, how Senator Murphy feels, how you feel, how I feel. It's simply based upon the evidence, and somehow that has so gotten away from us.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both. I mean, great legal analysis. Kendall, Randy, great to see you both.